Welcome to your Inspirational Astrology Horoscope for Friday, May 22nd, 2020. I'm Astrologer Dave Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. Well, thanks so much for being a part of HighVibe.tv. If you are not a member to get my daily video horoscopes like this, please check it out, HighVibe.tv. And of course, you can get my special, my 2020 horoscope, which goes all into what's going on, what's next. And I recorded this on April 24th. So it's from April 24th all the way into the rest of this year. And I make bold predictions to help people understand. And of course, that goes in with the last 3 years of predictions I made. You can be the judge of what I said and whether or not you felt it came true. Now, we got a great day today. It is a new moon day, and it is a new moon in Gemini. And I am calling this the greatest new moon of the year. That is because this is happening in Gemini with a great trine to Saturn in Aquarius. This is going to be the only new moon in trine or in a positive aspect to Saturn in Aquarius. And really, I really feel that this is a breath of fresh air for us to really start to try and understand in our lives, what is it that we need to change in our environments? What do we, as we have Saturn in retrograde, to reflect on the connections we want to make? And there's a lot about people, right? This is an intense day. Venus retrograde still at 20 degrees here of Gemini, but look at Mercury. Boom. It's passing by. Mercury is flying. Remember this, that Mercury is going almost 2 degrees a day, and Venus is stopped in retrograde. Sure, it's moving, but only 22 minutes. This is really slow. So it's a lot like a bullet, right? So it's like a car kind of going down the street, right? But really not really going down the street. Let's say it stopped almost, but like inching. And here comes little Mercury. And just slides through this thing as fast as it can. So this would be Venus. And it's going in retro, right? And so what we have going on here is we have Venus now heading towards the sun from a geo point of view. But of course, we know that Venus is getting closer to passing the Earth. Now, I think what's really interesting about this new moon, as well as this transit's going on, of course, we're having the Mercury square Neptune, right? There's a lot of questions in our life of where things are going. And I would say that, a lot of this is subconscious stuff. What is it that we feel like we're just like kind of looking at ourselves a little bit dumb? Like, am I really just in this pattern still with relationships, with maybe just even your self-worth or the things that you really want in your life, but yet you're just doing the same pattern and you're like, ugh. But then there is something to say about Neptune where it's like, it's an escape, right? So it's like, sometimes it's our escapism. But really, I think that this is a deeper part of it. I think it's a spiritual message that's trying to come to us in one of the most beautiful ways that it can. Because this is a new moon in Gemini, which is all about the messenger and the message, and Mercury's in Gemini with Venus retrograde here. And remember, this is the Venus retrograde last time that happened in 2012, right? In May and June. And it was interesting that about 8 years ago, we had a solar eclipse new moon. It was actually 2 days and 2 years ago, which is funny that we're in a 2 and 2 degree sun and moon, and we're in a 2020. So many weird aspects with those numbers. We're in 220s. With Mercury and Venus. We got Neptune at 20. There's a lot of that going on. But remember, these nodes have switched. And so this is going to be a new moon that we're finally going to see with the North Node in Gemini, and it happens to be in the same sign. That's a big deal because we've been spending the last 18 months in this other area, Capricorn and Cancer, which is where we've had so much intense energy. Eclipses, and of course, we've also had the Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter aspects, and Mars that was with all of them. So there's been a lot going on, but I feel that we've come out of that 18-month cycle, and this is a new one. And Gemini is all about changing your environment, also speaking your truth. And with Neptune there, we can be really sensitive, or we could try and assume, right? Like think that, oh, am I sure about that feeling? Is my intuition right? We have to talk about it. That's the whole thing. We have to talk. Saturn in Aquarius is also like, are you moving backwards into things, trying to refix things that you know are broken? Or are you moving forward into connecting to things that want to connect in life, and that there's so much about people with Saturn in Aquarius and Venus retrograde right now with Mercury exactly on top. Even though the square to Neptune's there, we've got Saturn in awesome aspect here to this new moon. It's about making choices. It's about making plans for your future while being aware of the subconscious patterns and issues in relationships and the communication issues, or even just the environment in which you're in. Are these the people you want to be around in your life? Are these the projects that you want to be doing? What is going on with your money situation? That's a lot. It's a lot. That's really where everything's at right now in potency, and what makes you feel good and what doesn't. Also, we got Chiron here. It's come to 8 degrees, and we've got Uranus down at 8 degrees. In the semi-sextile, we haven't seen Uranus at 8 since the 30s. I think it was 35 into 36, so 1935, 1936. That's the time we saw Uranus here at 8. Chiron, we haven't seen here at 8 degrees yet either, since Chiron would have been here, I think, in 1970 into 71. So, this is definitely moving us into a whole new energy with this kind of outer realm of our identity and what we value, and having to reach higher and let go of things that just are not in alignment with what our ego's trying to push too hard for, and what we're trying to hold on to maybe spiritually in a more physical tone that isn't advancing our life forward. I think it's also interesting that Mars is in great aspect with Uranus coming into this weekend in this new moon energy that we're going to see, because remember that moon is going to cross and meet with Venus retrograde and Mercury and the North Node. There is so much Gemini. This is going to change your life and flip it like a coin, just like one way to another way. Bing, boom, boom. It's just like, it's a lot. But it's exciting, though, because I think that this is a moment for us to shake things up in the way that we want to. Now, I know it's Venus retrograde. I know it's Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto retrograde, but this Jupiter-Pluto is, sure, it's making this quincunx, but it's actually, and I'm going to have to erase this to show you all. If we look deeply, that's Tavesta. But there's a moment here where Jupiter and Pluto are pretty much not really aspecting a lot of things here. So, except of course Eris, which is a planet, but that's a whole other story. I would say that the main thing, though, is there's this truth that's been underlying that Jupiter and Pluto have been trying to do. And now with it retrograde, it's like, you know the road, you know the destination you want to go on. Every time you check in with yourself, your beliefs have to change about it and make harder choices. Jupiter's in its fall position. And so it's like the options only become the best door. It's not like you get a crap ton of options. I mean, look at the world today with Jupiter, Pluto, and Capricorn. Not a lot of options out there in our lives. So we got to pick the best options. And this Gemini energy gets curious and exciting enough and is willing to communicate to, is willing to be curious enough to see what is the environment, what are the people, what are the situations, what are the excitement, what are the connections with Saturn and Aquarius that are going to make us change, while seeing with Neptune the subconscious patterns and the issues that are going on. We're finally have seen, and I can't believe it here either, and this is why you're seeing a little bit in the media stuff kind of cool down a little bit, or it might just feel like it's not grasping you as much, is because Neptune in this Uranus 45-degree angle has now come to 48 degrees. It's breaking apart. Uranus is going to come to 10 degrees here in the next month and a half, so, we're actually going to be a 50-degree angle away, so we're getting out of that 45, which has been going on for the last 2 years. Now, it's going to come back, so don't get me wrong, and it's going to come back again this fall into the winter, so we're going to see a lot more crazy, hypey media stuff, and I'm not saying it's not going away, but I am saying that the people are over it. The people are over, being glued to what's next in the news or whatever. It's not working anymore. You can feel that, and this is that moment to break away into the truth of where do you want to connect? What's your future look like? These nodes, South Node, remember in Sag. Stop trying to, especially with Saturn retrograde, right, in Aquarius, stop trying to believe that you can fix something that you know is not fixable in your life, or connecting to something and trying to connect to something that's disconnected. It's like trying to hook up a TV that's broken. I'll be honest, I've bought a TV. It was maybe right when this whole pandemic started, and it was I think it was the second week. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to redo my music studio. And Best Buy was doing a huge sale. And I was like, all right. So I went and I bought a new like LED TV or whatever. And I put it up. And somehow in the middle of the process, there was like a nut or a bolt on the ground in the carpet. And when I put it down to put the back like TV mount on it, it cracked the screen. It's like I sat there for like 2 minutes and tried to fix it. And I'm like, am I really trying to fix a broken screen? Am I really trying to break, and this is Aquarius, so it has to deal with, right? Like technology and stuff. But look at this from a spiritual place. Like, how do you know when something in your technology just doesn't work? You just finally go, you know what? I have to get a new one. There's just sometimes when you just know. You're just like, I got to get something new. It's just not working no more. And I think that that's something that we need to pay attention to. We also need to pay attention to, well, I mean, that's really where all this is at. And with the Mars and Pisces already is trying to cut away all the things in our life that are not in our spiritual alignment and go into our spiritual place. It's going to be the only way that things are going to work. And so when it comes to, the predictions I make every day here on High Vibe and so forth and spilling cards everywhere, the predictions that I'm making are that people are feeling more and more and more disconnected as this Neptune-Uranus aspect comes out of its 45-degree angle. But I will say that it is a new moon in Gemini. We are going to see a lot of Gemini activate. The Venus retrograde we haven't felt yet. We've been numb to it with Neptune squaring it for weeks. And it's still going to continue. And actually, we're finally going to see this weekend Venus come off Neptune and almost like, so there's going to be a lot of intense energy coming into people's lives and change and fast change. The fastest change you're ever going to feel. It's going to be really fast. So let's see what I have to pull with the cards. I'm changing things up here. You know what I mean? Changing things up here. So I'm going to pull a whole spread for this new moon. We are doing spiritual dance music tonight too. I just want to remind people about that. Oh, look at it. I just changed it up on you again. I also am using a new deck. Well, I'm using the Golden Tarot, but I also am going to be using this new deck I got. It's called, I don't know why I got it, but it's called the Dark Mirror. Ooh. So we're gonna do some gold, and we're gonna do some gold, and we're gonna do some light. Oh, look at that, chariot reversed. All right. Yeah. So it'll be quite interesting to see what this new moon brings. Remember, set that intention. This is the best astrology I've seen for us in a long time. Say that again. Well, this is the best astrology I've seen for us in a long time. And especially, this is the lunar cycle where we can make changes. We also are stepping into eclipse season because in 2 weeks we're going to have a lunar eclipse. And then we're going to have a solar eclipse a month after now. And then we're going to have another lunar eclipse. So we are coming into 3 eclipses. It's going to be intense. And this is massive amount of change coming into our world very, very fast. I mean, just all this Gemini, it's pretty insane, to be honest with you. I think it's exciting, but for some people, watch your mental health. I said that on Deep Astrology this week. Because whenever we get a lot of Mercury energy square Neptune, it's kind of creepy and crazy and can bring out mental health issues. You can start tripping. And with Venus there that's been doing it and coming off, it's tripping now that the sun and the moon are in Gemini with the North Node. Remember, those nodes serve the sun and the moon. So, we're going to feel the Gemini world and then the South Node in Sag. Don't get lost in hopefulness over things that you're too afraid to just figure out or that you're really not that curious about or you're really not that into. It's just not... You got to be in that Gemini mode now. You got to be like, this is the environment I want. These are the changes I want now. And I'm going to go figure it out. And I'm going to do it opposed to, oh, let me keep researching and stalling. And da-da-da-da. There's a lot of stall there. All right, let's get to those cards. All right, first card that I got from the Astro... it's not Astro. So many cards that I do. I got the Five of Pentacles in the Golden Tarot. So, Five of Pentacles. Let's see. No judging my mouse pad. This thing has been with me for a couple, 6 years now. Anything that makes us feel like we are, and I brought up the mental health thing, but anything that makes us feel like we're lacking deeply in something that makes us feel good. This could be poverty, money-wise. This can be, sick energy. And it's an overall energy, you know what I mean? It's kind of like, what are we ready to free ourselves? I always like the Five of Pentacles because it is a card that says, hey, you can get relief if you choose to. It always represents kind of the homeless person who's outside and they're walking away from the church in the blizzard when there's a church right there. So there's that whole aspect of, I like this card because it's like they're in the church and there it is. There's hope. But there's got to be you being willing to go into the spaces of what will feel good and will benefit you, opposed to getting locked away into your own kind of, I'm walking away from the things that are going to help me. I'm going to pull just 3 cards and then I'm going to pull a black mirror card. So the challenge that we got here is the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, we're not building the things that we really want to the way we want to, or we feel like there's still something missing. Something's missing in our life that's going to complete us to be able to build the structures that we want. And there's definitely going to be a lot of changes around the people that we are doing it with. And our outlook card that we got is the Nine of Cups in reversed. So I would say that a lot of this is that we are not really fulfilled at all. We are not feeling emotionally fulfilled. And overall, we're not, because of the fact that we feel like we're kind of building things that are not, or that need building, or they're not the right energies that can build the life that we want. And then we're in a place where we feel somewhat abandoned or somewhat, but really we're not. We're the one choosing to kind of be out away from the goodness. And we'll get a clarifying card. What is the goodness at? The Tower reversed. Look at that. The fear of just ending situations that we know are coming to a catastrophe in our life, or it would feel like a catastrophe were to end, just because we'd have to go through so much, or we put so much energy into things that really don't matter to us anymore. What's the black? Look at this. Bride in a cage. We're going to get more clarity on that. Especially because, if you're married or if you're in a relationship, I'd say, you feel like you're in a cage. But I think, I'm single, I feel like I'm in a cage of just kind of right? Page of Wands reversed. Definitely not happy. Definitely not getting the messages we want to receive. So how are we gonna step into this new moon energy, and how are we gonna make those changes? I feel like we need a couple more cards here. What are we so afraid of? The anxieties and the fears that we just keep having, and the nightmares are us still living in a nightmare and not getting out of it. We need to go build the memories we want to build and go be in the place that's peaceful. Do we know where that place is at? Yeah. Places where they're not the same patterns that we just keep repeating over and over and over again. Finally, when we get out of those patterns, we can find that peaceful place. It won't be a nightmare anymore. Instead of us feeling like we're not getting the message of happiness and love, that we actually, we'll get that. We will not be locked up. We will see something fall, but that means that we can build something brand new. We will finally find the emotional fulfillment that we're looking for. We'll finally be building the quest that we want, and we won't feel that we're abandoned, but feel that we have been healed and taken care of, and we knew how to take care of ourselves to not feel so out there lost, or in many ways just not really the energy and who we really are. So there's a lot there. We're going to go deeper into it on spiritual dance music tonight. I just want to say thank you, everybody, so much for following me and for, really staying with me in the astrology for so long. It was this new moon. It was this Venus retrograde 8 years ago that truly changed my life. It was in the astrology community as well, the United Astrology Conference, the UAC 2012, that started this week. So it is kind of interesting to me that, things have kind of come full circle in my life. It was that conference that Matrix Software, Michael Erlewine, I worked for him, and he got me to come out there, and he let me work for him, and I have to thank him dearly. And I got to meet all the astrologers that we all know and love today, and I got to get involved with the astrology community, and it created all this that I do now today. It was this transit 8 years ago. So I've been doing it for months prior and even years prior, but this was the marker point for me where it was like, I'm making my whole life doing this full time and my business and all that stuff. And, I look back at that and it's like, wow. So it's an amazing moment for you too. And this has the North Node here, so it's a little bit more harsh, I'll be honest. But it's much more empowering when we step into that power and we're not afraid. And the only fear that we really have right now is our own part of ourselves that keeps pushing things off and just hoping for things to change without making the change within ourselves, and not cutting out the things that we don't feel divinely guided by, not making choices that are the best for our future and that are more connected, and us just sitting in question land about our subconscious issues around the things that we are trying to figure out maybe a little bit too much when it comes to our self-worth, our relationships that might not be in alignment with spirit either, and to focus on the ones that are and the things that are and the connections that are, and to live the curious Gemini life that we are living in right now. Your life is going to change dramatically quick this weekend into the beginning on Monday. You watch. And in the world, you'll see it too. Thank you so much for all your support. Truly appreciate it. Spiritual dance music tonight. And my love class is available. So just go to highvibe.tv and click on Love Masterclass, and you can purchase and watch all 10 videos. It's 40 hours long. If you want to learn about your love story and love story of others, I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. And I will see you all very, 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 very soon.